There's a disproportionate of people who keep watching this thing and don't like do all the like and subscribe stuff. So whoever you are, I'm going to hunt you down and give you a nuggie. OP Crypto Degen. I know you use a few other names, but we'll stick with that for now. How are you doing, sir? Okay.
Good, man. I just want to say thanks for having me on. Also, I heard it was your birthday, so I saw it was your birthday. So thanks for spending your birthday with me. So I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, when you get a little bit older like me, I feel about 87-year-old. There's no that meme like the 25-year-old in crypto, and I'm 29 now, but like where he looks about 125-year-old.
Man, you're still young. You're still young, dude. You're still young.
This industry has a real habit of aging people. It's like we age in dog years.
No, for real, yeah.
Yeah. I think first of all, let's do some kind of high level overviews. Like you personally, where obviously we've been pals for must be 18 months, maybe 2 years now personally. So but yeah, let's do some high level. How did you get into this? Because you're even more fresh faced than myself. So you must have been quite young when you stumbled upon this whole thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, I started back like around now pretty much like run up on 2 years because I'm about to be 20 in January. So but I started like as soon as I turned 18, and I really got into it in like during the May dump back in 2020. Yeah, 2020, and yeah, like one of the first things I bought was like Luna, and that turned out to be one of the better investments, at the time. But obviously, we all know what happened to that.
RIP.
Yeah. But then and then I bridged it onto AVEX. I was like one of the first people to bridge on AVEX. So you're wearing the AVEX shirt. So yeah, AVEX was definitely a place that I grew and I learned a lot. And but I'd probably say the biggest contributor to just like my learning and all that was definitely joining a lot of Discords, particularly like the Hexro Discord, which I know is a sponsor of Blockmates too. So they've been a big part of that, and meeting Jedi for sure. Jedi's been one of my mentors, and and then meeting you, after that. So that's kind of how it all came together, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that the pit in the Hero Discord is like that's where fortunes were made and fortunes were lost. But the camaraderie in that place was like, and that's open to anyone as well. If anyone's kind of listening, there's a channel in there called the Pit. I'll leave the Hero Discord link in the description below. But it's just hilarious. Everyone's just, if you could like picture what a complete, if you could take like the old trading rooms from back in the day, like obviously you see images of and videos of and things like that, where it's absolute carnage. That's like this day's reinvention of it, where it's everyone's just shouting shit at each other, taking the piss out of each other. Everyone's friends, but it's everyone just giving each other shit. Everyone's aping into the same liquid shit coins.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny. At certain points, like I remember, like we're aping to like some like really like low liquidity stuff, So like we're all like oh hey, we're not selling, right? We're not selling because like we can't dump on each other, guys. So that was pretty funny too. It's like oh don't sell. So that's pretty accurate.
It's kind of hilarious when that kind of dynamic plays out, because it doesn't take like info in this space spreads like wildfire because of like the Discords and Telegrams and even Twitter to an extent. I still think that by the time you've seen it on Twitter, you're probably a little bit too late, in my opinion. But that's the problem, because everyone ends up in the same position. And then it just turns into like you're in like a battleground with people that you spend like 12 hours a day with in Discord. But it's a lot nicer when, as you mentioned Avalanche, like those were the days when they had Rush, because you could affect, everyone could be making decent returns, and because of the incentive programs, it wasn't as cutthroat. So it was definitely like a PVE, player versus environment
Definitely.
setup. But now, as you say, with how low liquidity we're seeing in the particularly in DeFi space, and even on order books on centralized exchanges, if anyone's an idiot and still using those things, but it is cutthroat. It's complete PvP, like real hard mode.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was talking about it like about a week ago. You know, I was thinking like, okay, like kind of reevaluating, like, okay, you know, what's kind of my edge in the market, right? Trying to think to myself like, what am I really good at, you know? And it's like, especially now, because like you mentioned, it's PvP, right? If you're and if you don't have an edge on somebody, and you know, you're not gonna win, you know, you're not gonna win. Like there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna dump on you earlier, you know. So that's kind of the thing. And I think when I realized like, hey, I have no edge here, it's kind of and I think we're both the same, you know. I think we do very well in trading like directional markets, and you know, we will outperform a lot of people, but you know, when we kind of don't have that edge, it's kind of hard, you know.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and that's something I kind of what I've kind of learned from how choppy and drawn out this full like downturn has been. It's completely exactly what you've just said, where it's like I can back myself in a trending market to kind of pick up on the fastest horses effectively, and because you do this all day every day, and like yourself, you can tend to spot early narratives before the rest of the herd comes in, and like if you play it well, then you can obviously do very well for yourself in like a raging bull market that's trending. But what I kind of struggled with, but I suppose it's a good realization to understand, and if you can kind of tap into it earlier and earlier every time that you see it, is don't try and apply your trending market strategies to a choppy sideways market or something that doesn't resemble how you made your money, because it's like you're taking different tools to different battlegrounds effectively. But the quicker that you can learn that, and I think this time around was a lot more obvious for me personally. I think it's because I know I got screwed over trying to trade chop in previous markets. So, but you don't. They're the types of markets that you give it all back in. And it's recognizing one, your strengths. So it's like when your cards are in your favor, then you go hard. But when you're in like the less favorable markets that are in hard mode, as like I like to call them, it's you need to recognize that you've got no business there.
Exactly. And I think it's definitely hard to like, you know, recognize that quickly, because like when everything's just going up, it's like you know, it's like oh well, you know, it'll be fine, like it'll go back up, or you know, and you kind of you still kind of have that hopium, you know, and it's like no, you got to cut the bag a lot quicker, and sometimes the best trade is no trade, you know, and
And I suppose on that as well, it's I don't know how you feel about this, but it's something that I quickly realized maybe like a year, 18 months ago, is if you're going to support a project, try not to get too intertwined with it, because once you become a community member, logic just completely goes out the window and you end up kind of being purely emotional based.
I mean, not even that, but like you feel like you're like, because you're part of like the community, you feel like a sense of like, oh, I can't sell because like I have a responsibility to the team or whatever, you know? A responsibility to the community, you know. And that it's just bad to do that for sure.
Yeah, that's quite interesting as well, because we covered on Tuesday. How do you think about, like, you know, everyone was trying to build like these huge treasuries, and protocol on liquidity became a thing, and like last time around, and I think we're probably going to see new iterations on protocol on liquidity, but everyone kind of got caught with their pants down as soon as they realized that 80% of said treasury that they were boasting about was in their own native token. So that obviously affected like a huge drawdown in and of itself. But it's like, I was looking at the GMX and redacted treasury swap idea. So it's like 200k GMX for.
I saw that. That was interesting.
So it's like, I think we do see this already, but it just makes a lot of sense, to be putting other tokens to use to earn yield, particularly if they're yield bearing as well, to bolster and have like revenue generating treasuries. Because, as you say, it doesn't necessarily look good if you've been actively in the community and then you're also kind of selling tokens. And what's even worse, perceived as worse anyway, I don't think it's necessarily that bad if done properly, is when like team tokens and team treasuries are resorting to sell tokens to kind of stay afloat. I think there's a middle ground there, and I think Redacted and GMX are probably experimenting with what's actually possible on that front.
Yeah. I think we'll definitely see like more iterations of PLL, because it works. It works. Like if you want a lot of money, if you want like a big treasury, it works. Obviously, the most of the treasury is just the token, right, and the LP. But from that LP, it also generates a lot of fees too. I think I remember I was in Spartacus Finance. It's like another OHM fork on Phantom, right? And they did a really good job because they grew very quickly. And then they ended up like their strategy was essentially owning like all the DAI on Phantom. So they own like I think 95% of the DAI on Phantom. So that was pretty insane. And obviously like the tokenomics don't work out, but super inflationary because you're paying back bonds, but nonetheless, like it's still an interesting idea. That they were able to own like 95% of the DAI on Phantom.
Yeah, it was quite, as you said, it was an interesting model, and those that did it well and bolstered like huge treasuries and put those to use. Like I'd like to see how does play out over a long period of time, because I think they could potentially do well now that everyone's kind of chilled out and everyone's tokens have went down 99%, regardless if there was higher inflation or not. But I also like you've seen some projects that use that specifically as just purely as a bootstrapping mechanism and then pivoted.
Yeah.
So I think it was like Magnet DAO spun out, used the treasury to spin up Vector Finance.
I saw that one, yeah.
And even Umami, was an own fork at one point.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They pivoted, yeah. And you've got to think about it this way: like Umami did like some kind of treasury management and distributed some profits, but then obviously switched to the delta neutral vaults and like structured products and things.
They branched out to doing a lot of other like really cool stuff.
Yeah, and if they didn't have like the Ponzi-nomics own fork thing before it, they wouldn't have had the capital to be able to make those products work. And I don't think they'd have been able to raise that amount of like free liquidity into a treasury if they'd done it any other way. So it was a great time to like make an opportune moment of that. But then again, the flip side of that is there was an awful lot of projects that just took those treasuries and ran.
Yeah. Wait, so did Umami, like, once they were finished with their like DAO model or their treasury model, right? What did did they split their LP or like what did they do to like generate cash or like make the switch, I guess?
I can't remember what they were doing. I think they were basically doing like just basic LPing and just yield generating assets. So like the bulk of the treasury was put to work in the market effectively. But for someone who looks after a small DeFi fund or has like helps with a strategy around a small DeFi fund myself, it's like it's fucking tough. It's really
I know. Yeah, how's that been, man? I mean, that's how's Expo been? I mean that's tough to like do anything in this market.
I think we looked year on year, and I think we're going to release some stats about it, but we're roughly flat from the beginning of the year. So better than most.
Hey, that's better than a lot of hedge funds, bro. I mean,
yeah. So I've traded Alameda and 3SE and looks like Genesis. So if anyone wants to employ me, then I'm like $1 million an hour. So yeah, it's just looking now at like what prices can we get for specific assets and then sit on them for a while and then see what we can do. It's like flipping that mentality from shit, everything's going down to right, what discount can we get on these assets now? And then really like drumming out a thesis and looking what's going to be around the corner. I suppose that's a good lead on question, good segues. What are you seeing or what would you like to see play out? Because sometimes the two are a little bit different from my experience.
I mean, I'd say for me, like I'm definitely like this time around, I'm definitely a lot more. Sorry, in this next cycle, I think I'm going to be looking at a lot more like NFT stuff because I don't think I did enough of like particularly like NFT finance and just like NFTs in general. You know, I didn't really do too much with NFTs during this last bull market. I really didn't touch NFTs too much. I think I've had like 2 NFTs and like most of them were like AVEX NFTs that like I don't know why I bought AVEX NFTs every time. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking at NFTs a lot more. I think for me personally, why I'm looking at NFTs and like NFT finance in particular is because like I don't think NFTs have kind of had their kind of like renaissance moment that like DeFi has. DeFi has like DeFi 1.0, DeFi 2.0, and stuff like that. And obviously we're still kind of advancing. But I really like what I saw with like SudoSwap, and although like obviously SudoSwap is still missing a lot of things, particularly when it comes to like accounting for rarity, because there's no way to account for rarity on SudoSwap. It's just like a base pool, and you have a pool, and everything's worth the same essentially. So that to me is pretty interesting, and I think that's probably one of the more like immediate things, I guess. Like I said, I know we also like options and like derivative markets, but I don't see those. I don't see that materializing anytime soon, because I think you need a lot of liquidity, and you need a lot of institutions, and I just don't see retail being able to use that. And then I'm also like pretty excited for gaming, not so much as an investment standpoint, because I don't think gaming has shown any like GameFi in general has shown any type of like meaningful returns in general. Like a lot of the games have just been pretty much like down only, or they don't really have good tokenomic models. But the gaming industry in general got a lot of money in this last cycle, and I think we'll probably start to see a lot of the stuff that they put out in the next year or two. So that's kind of I'm kind of excited for that. But yeah, like I think right now just kind of waiting to see what kind of materializes. I don't think there's any type of like really obvious thing out there yet. But yeah, I don't know. What kind of your feelings?
I kind of completely agree, particularly with the NFTfi and the NFT kind of financialization aspect, because you got to think like art in the real world. You don't necessarily see art like traded perps or anything like that. You might see like indexes of like whatever, but I just think it's a natural progression. And as you say, with SudoSwap, what I love about SudoSwap is I know any of the issues that need ironing out will be ironed out with SudoSwap. They've got some like exceptional builders there.
That team is good.
So I think they will figure all that kind of stuff out. You can kind of tell how successful a project's going to be when you start seeing other projects build or on top or around their own product. So like there's that Protec that Magnus from Redacted is spinning out. So they want to be like a large, effectively market maker for like NFT, like financialized products and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting. NFT perp is really interesting, because I'd love to short the shit out of like some of the collections. And I also think it's go on. Sorry.
Like that'd be interesting. Like being able to short an NFT collection, like that'd be crazy. short Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Needs shorten. And I also think it's probably a natural progression and stepping stone, as opposed to going from like DeFi, like vanilla kind of PFP NFTs straight to GameFi. I don't think that leap is like it's a bit of a jump, like
that's a big jump.
Like the iterations in between that are probably where I see that whole NFT MetaFi landscape playing out, and then from that I think you probably will start seeing great kind of tokenomic models or dynamics of how to use NFTs and tokens properly together.
Yeah.
And that's what might lead to like a sustainable or semi-sustainable where demand can actually outcompete like incentives for emissions and stuff like that. So I think when that infrastructure is built, that will probably allow those GameFi projects that everyone hopes and dreams of to kind of come to the front. And I also think, as I agree with what you said with NFTs, they definitely had their like 2017 pump moment, like all kinds of 2017. But yeah, they definitely haven't had their DeFi 1.0 or even like DeFi 2.0 moment yet. Like those, it's probably one of those things where like we can't even imagine what it's going to be like until someone goes and creates like a 0 to 1 idea around it. But on the options thing, I agree. Options vaults struggle for liquidity. They also settle off chain as well, which feels a bit sus to me. Lyra, I've got like an on-chain MM. Again, the sticking point is liquidity because, it's just the issue across DeFi in general. But what's really interesting is have you seen Panoptic?
Panoptic. I don't think I heard of Panoptic. No.
So these guys are effectively looking at Uniswap as a liquidity black hole, and because of the concentrated liquidity, they think they've figured out a way to have perpetual options on top of Uniswap. So the liquidity issue immediately goes away.
Interesting.
And I also think that could be a narrative as well. Like with all the hacks and the fragmentation of liquidity, one thing that stood the test of time is Uniswap, and particularly UniV3 now with concentrated liquidity. I think you'll see a lot of iterations on top of that, and a lot of building happening on there. So, but yeah, check out that Panoptic. That's that's some gigabrain stuff.
Panoptic.
Let me see if I can bring it up here.
Oh, Panoptic. Okay, Panoptic. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, yeah, I gotta check that out. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they're doing a talk with Arrakis this week.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out then. That sounds cool. But kind of going off of what you said about Uniswap, I think I definitely think like if we want to talk about a narrative or a trend like right now, right? I think the most obvious thing is just like the dominance and kind of the return to like a lot of the DeFi 1.0 like dinosaurs, like Aave and like obviously like Uniswap and pretty much a lot of the things that have kind of stood the test of time. I think we're definitely going to see like them do a lot, like just do a lot better and probably be one of some of the stronger things in the market relative to a lot of other things. Just because they don't have that much emissions, they don't have they don't have people like constantly dumping on top of like dumping tokens, and just obviously they're on Ethereum and everybody wants to be on Ethereum, particularly when there's not any liquidity. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, they'll technically been through like two big like drawdowns and two big cycles as well. So it's, as you say, the test of time from a security standpoint and like a protocol use standpoint. To be honest, as bad as like this year has been, it's been a problem that's in crypto, but it hasn't necessarily been a crypto, and it certainly hasn't been a DeFi problem. It's always been like a bad actor issue or a lack of transparency issue, which the space has built the infrastructure to prevent that from happening. But it's always the stuff that's going on in the shadows that's caused like the issues that have caused like the big downfall. So, and like I always say, like with regards to Aave, when 3AC had like a shit ton of collateral in Aave, they were choosing to pay that down before they were choosing to pay down the unsecured loans that they were getting from other market makers. Because like you can't just go and knock on Aave's door and say, "Can I have my collateral back? I'll pay you in a couple of weeks." It doesn't work like that. So if anything, like if there was any silver lining, as you say, it's like DeFi's done exceptionally well, and those dinosaur projects have done like outstanding, really.
Yeah. Did you see Avi? He like he tried he tried to give Avi a bunch of bad debt. That's pretty crazy. I was watching that. I was watching on chain.
So like, stop me if I'm wrong. So he's deposited stables into Aave, borrowed a load of Curve, sold Curve immediately. So I
think So he bought a bunch of like Curve over time, and then like essentially like he just dumped it all at one time to like kind of like liquidate, or I think he was trying to liquidate somebody or something, and then he had another trade on a centralized exchange. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. That's crazy.
We've got Jack's
his thread. Yeah,
So Whale borrowed against the CRV position on Aave. Aave borrows CRV against 50 million USDC on Aave. Aave dumps his CRV, so it's effectively an on-chain short because
he's trying to liquidate the whale.
And then God. So he's but Curve have then released the stablecoin white paper, and
I know it wiped from that was bad timing. Or I guess good timing. I don't know.
Yeah, good timing. You can't have like this guy like boasts about how he's created loads of money from these highly profitable trading strategies, but if you look a little bit deeper, a lot of them have been complete exploits and hacks, and a lot of them have been like centralized exchange hacks and stuff. So it's nice to see bad actors get completely blown out. So
actually, I don't know if he did. I think he just broke even, or he didn't, or maybe lost like 1 mil or something like that. But either way, like I think Aave still had bad debt in the end. So like that's I guess that's something to watch and something to see kind of how Aave goes about stuff like that in kind of in the future.
I'm just gonna bring up his wallet now. So he must have moved funds, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he probably did.
But the only other issue is, it's actually not that big now. So he's got Bitcoin short open on GMX. It's for 52 Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, he does, huh? Interesting.
So I don't know what he's trying to pull off there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know.
It's like every time he uses something, it's like, right, what's he trying to do?
Yeah, what's supposed to be strategy?
Yeah, because the whole mango thing was a bit of a like. How do you look at stuff like that? Do you see that as an exploit or just like a feature?
I mean, to me, like, yeah, it's like to me it's an exploit. I mean, no, it's tough. Like, yeah, I'd probably just call it an exploit. I mean, that was really sad though. I mean, it was really sad. Like, just everything just got drained, and that kind of sucked for a lot of people. Like morally, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, Sam. And then being like so boastful about it as well, which is kind of
exactly. Like, come on, man, you're just dancing on people's graves, like.
Yeah, Solana DeFi has had a tough old time recently.
Jesus, I mean, I think Solana is. I just checked. I was checking like the DeFi Llama yesterday, and the outflows on stablecoins out of Solana is pretty crazy. I think they're down like just the last week like 30%. I think the market cap was like 3 billion down to like 1.6 or something like that. Into those total like stablecoin market cap. So like there's a lot of outflows there, and I think like for me when I think about outflows, I like to check the stablecoins because like particularly right now everybody's primarily in stablecoins. If you're usually you're not buying everything, and it's very yeah, it's very meaningful when the stable coins are moving out of an ecosystem. Yeah, and like TVL is down a lot too. Like I think TVL in the last just in the last month is down like $1 billion. So that's pretty crazy. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like honestly, what are your thoughts of Solana? Like I don't know how to feel, to be honest. Like I don't know how to feel about it. Like personally, I originally like I had like high hopes for Solana. I thought could do very well and kind of be one of the de facto blockchains. Well, for me at least, it was always that Solana had a very good developer core, and had a lot of devs. But now I don't really know, kind of interested to hear thoughts about that.
Yeah. Whenever I kind of go through these things in the eye of the storm, effectively, it's like I always try and check myself for kind of recency bias. So naturally, I'd say it does look a little bit cooked, but as you say, there's enough of a developer community there, and if it can shake the connotation of Sam and just let this all play out in the wash, I think they've got enough. I think they've got enough there, particularly with Toli and Raj driving the ship, because I think they're great builders. I think they're optimized for what they want out of the chain as well.
Yeah,
they've got a clear kind of vision of where it's going. I also think there's a lot to be said for this. I know it's like a bit of a meme, but I also think there's a lot to be said about this, like the Solana operating system with the phone. I don't think that's the last we'll see of that, because there's a real demand for taking these kind of financial products, but more importantly, I think the gateway drug for mass adoption would probably come in the form of NFTs on mobile.
Yeah, I mean, it's another big reason, like I said, why I'm like looking at NFTs and like NFT finance this next or obviously I hate saying the word cycle, but for lack of a better term, because of that, because I think like what I saw is like a lot of my friends, like they don't know anything about crypto at all. They just know about NFTs, and like they just know about NFTs. So like I can see that like being onboarded a lot easier, particularly too like what Polygon's doing. I think is pretty cool. Like Polygon, like shout out to Polygon biz dev stuff. Like they've been doing they've been getting partnerships, man. Like Nike, they've got Starbucks. Like they've been doing well.
Yeah. But just like imagine if they nail this kind of operating system, even if the phone's a little clunky in the early days. It's the issue is now, I think Apple and Android would allow them in the app stores, but creators and app developers are going to like take a 30% pay cut, and there's no way they're going to do that because they could effectively go on chain and actually get it.
Yeah,
or they'd have to mark it up. It's like when you order food through like Uber or Grab or whatever it is. It's it's always marked up because the retailer at the end is also facing like a 30% charge.
Nah, dude,
so it's not sustainable, is it?
No. Dude, you order like a burger and fries on Uber from like McDonald's, and it's like oh yeah, like $10, and then like $30 to drive. I'm like, bro, and the service surcharge fee, it's like $40 for a burger and fries, man. Come on. anyways, that's a tangent.
Yeah. So yeah, but just on that, another crazy partnership, which it didn't exactly fly under the radar, but I don't think it got as much attention as it should have, was the Arbitrum and Reddit thing, because Reddit got like 500 million users.
Yeah.
It's
that I mean, the whole like Reddit NFT stuff too. I don't even know. I still don't even know what even happened with that. But I remember for a second like that was all blowing up. I don't even know what happened. But yeah.
Someone said on Twitter it was the first time that Reddit ever outtraded crypto Twitter.
I don't like Reddit's so late on everything. Like we'll be like, you know, like I remember like we'll be talking about FTX and then like you know, we're already talking about something else and then you know and then like I go on Reddit and I feel like I went back in time like a week, you know, and they're just talking about FTX. I'm just like, what is going on? Yeah.
Did you get affected by FTX at all?
No, I don't even I've never even used FTX, so yeah. So luckily I'm okay. But yeah, I mean, but in general, I don't really use centralized exchanges anyways. Most time I use them just like offboard, onboard, and most time I just use like Coinbase to like onboard, offboard, like stable coins. But yeah, I don't really use any exchanges. What about you?
No, completely fine. I know I've heard some real horror stories. Like 75, 80, 90% net worth down the drain and things like that. So it's really shit. But as you say, it's if anything, it comes down to like the likes of us and the likes of yourselves to kind of really put some digestible information out there to show people that that's not the only way you have to do things, and you can actually take self-custody, do it properly. And it is a bit of a pain in the arse, and that needs to be kind of, that issue around it needs to be sorted in and of itself. Like, I don't know if that comes through social recovery or different web wallets or what that looks like, but the whole barrier to entry thing on chain needs to be completely revamped to allow that to happen.
I think 100%. And I think kind of going back to like the Solana phone, I think that's a good place to start. Like, you know, definitely we need more mobile stuff, you know, and like less, you know, make it less difficult to like just use all this stuff, because it is complicated, you know. Like, I mean, like for me, obviously, like to us, it's like clicking buttons now. But like before, I remember like, dude, it was hard. I'm like, oh, I got to connect to this chain and like figure out the address to this chain and all this stuff. And
you feel like you're gonna get rogued at every minute.
Yeah. Like I remember when I bridged some assets to AVEX. I don't know what was going on. I bridged them, and then I was like, I was in the pit Discord. I was like, hey guys, like, so I bridged it. So what do I do now? You're like, oh, you just wait. I'm like,
okay. How long?
I just wait. All right. Like, wait. Like, okay. I'm like, guys, it's been 20 minutes. I still don't have anything. What's going on here? You know, and but yeah, I mean,
because we definitely saw there was an appetite for it, and definitely saw an appetite for yield, because Celsius and BlockFi and all those centralized who had like amazing kind of fintech standard UI UX. Hence why they were so popular and made it as so streamlined and easy as possible. And I know it's like completely different to what's happening on chain, but eventually if we move away towards those kind of UX and UI designers and things like that, and like the actual process flow of someone using an app like that, I think because people love those products, and that's why they got completely screwed over. But that's completely overlooked. Like, just take a look at Curve, for fuck's sake. It's like the UI of Curve. It's like, and they recently updated it, and I was like,
yeah, dude, no, dude, like even me, I get confused on Curve sometimes. I'm like, what am I looking at right now? Like, there's a bunch of different pools. Like, imagine it's the first time looking at Curve and you just see like a bunch of just freaking different pools of assets. Like, bro, what's going on here? You know?
Yeah. Do you think if you had a look at, well, I don't even look at it yet, the Curve stablecoin?
I honestly have not had a chance to look at it. I've looked a little bit more. I've looked at the Aave stablecoin Go, or Go. I think that one's pretty cool. I think that's really cool for Aave in terms of kind of making their tokenomics a lot better. Kind of, you know, having the VE tokenomics. And I mean, there's so many things that play into that too. Just like just kind of having that flywheel for Aave to kind of be able to just not only just be a governance token, you know, because kind of the main issue with Aave, just like a governance token, but now to actually have some type of incentive to like have rewards and have that and have actual fees coming back, bigger fees coming back to stakers and stuff.
They must have like a huge treasury.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't
Yeah,
know what it is, but...
they also partnered with Balancer as well. They did a token swap too, back in March. So this is a while ago, but yeah, they did this. That was pretty interesting too.
Yeah, because we were talking yesterday with the Tapioca guys, because they're really. If you had a look at the options airdrop that they're doing,
I don't think I have. No.
So instead of just kind of airdropping tokens to everyone for free, and we all know what happens eventually there, it's like they looked at the retention of people who got an airdrop and like 90 days out from the point of the airdrop, and it was like 0.1% we're still holding. So it was like they were like, we're not doing that. So they're airdropping for kind of contributors and people who are active and stuff like that. They're airdropping an option to buy the token at a discount, which I think is a really interesting model. And then if the purchase goes ahead, then the USDC or the ETH or whatever it is that is used to purchase the token is then put into like their treasury and protocol and liquidity, and then they can start earning yield for the TAP token stakers effectively. So as I say, in these times, I think it's when you start seeing the innovation. It's like when everything's like just completely up only, it's like we just need to push stuff and get it out there, and then we'll figure it out after. But now it's like, as you say, with SudoSwap came onto the scene, that was like a 0 to 1 idea. I thought that was really cool. And then you start seeing these like iterations and developments, and then everything moves up, everything starts looking the same, market comes down, people start innovating what didn't work last time, what we're going to do this time, and then just natural tech cycles effectively.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I think we're finally starting to see, like, I mean, we still see it, but like we're finally starting to see not as many copycat projects coming out, or because I mean we still have a couple. I know a lot of like GMX style like projects that come out. Yeah, like like what was it, like a MetaVault, DXP, like all those.
We're getting a few come across our desk looking to raise, and it's just like GMX have been really good to us from like day one. Like they were really helpful when we wanted to do some content around, because like the GLP model and the GMX the escrow model was like, that was like
confusing,
and it was like, right, let's do something around this, and team were just so helpful, and like it took people a while to cotton on to what was happening, and I think it was probably because the tokenomics was a little bit confusing, but now it's like it's just ingrained into everyone's understanding of how that all works. But now, as you say, people's projects didn't work in the bull market, will pivot towards this model, or you'll get people looking for an opportunistic kind of flip during a bear market to jump on the back of it. Or I don't mind the products that are building on top of it and building around it, like the likes of RoboVault and Umami, and
like those are fun because they like those are actually adding something, whether that's making your yield greater, or like automating your yield or whatever, or finding the best places to go. Like that makes the user experience better, But when you had just like straight copycat of another project, literally almost the exact same thing, it's like why? Like what's the purpose? There's really no point,
Yeah, because GMX has already built such a large moat.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not on every chain, but I could probably see like a GMX chain one day, like if we get to that point.
Yeah.
Just because of the product being so good, and even like you've got to think about whilst people are forking their V1 product of like perps, they're already off building like X4 or whatever they're calling it, with like the Oracle traded swaps and stuff like that. So everyone's going to be playing catch up with GMX, and they also registered for a business license on their new code, like a Uniswap did. So people would have to apply for a license to fork it. So good luck keeping up with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, so like kind of I guess kind of what's been kind of what's been your strategy, right? Are you still like buying liquid stuff, or are you kind of a lot pivoted more to like a lot of the like raising and like kind of like pre-seed stuff or private round stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think now what I noticed towards the height of the last bull market was everyone wanted to become a VC, and everyone was like, "Yeah, let's get private round, let's get." And a lot of the tokens now are beginning to vest, and it's just going to be really detrimental. And it's the same as anything. People buy, you always get friends and family who come in late and buy the top. Everyone wanted to be a VC, bought the top, had shitty valuations and shitty terms for the actual VC, and now it's been completely wrecked. We've managed to kind of internally keep a good group of us that still got some money left that we can then take with more favorable terms and less inflated valuations, which is good. And you just begin to pick up like some real diamonds because everyone else has run away, everyone else has lost money. So I'm probably focusing on that a little bit more, where I can have a little bit more of an input, and also kind of just retaining as much capital as possible and effectively just investing in myself and like the whole blockmates thing, because if anyone's going to lose their money at this point in the market, it's going to be me, not someone else.
Yeah.
But so go on, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so kind of brings us on to your new role at OP Crypto. So
yeah.
What was the pivot? Was it? I know we spoke previously that you wanted to work in kind of a fund or venture arm or something like that. But yeah, just fill us in, because there's a lot of funds that have just seemed to, like, as if we were helping to kind of get a project over the line and raise and things like that for people. It's a lot of people aren't allocating at the minute.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'd love to hear more about the fund and what's kind of what's your first impressions, because I know you've only been there a couple of weeks now.
Yeah. So yeah. It's very interesting, kind of making that switch and kind of working at a fund. You know, I kind of, like I said, you know, I kind of had been wanting to work at a fund for a while, and I tried applying to a bunch of different places, but when we had the bear market, like nobody was hiring. But luckily, OP Crypto was hiring, so. I came on board about like a month and a half ago, I want to say now. So back in like late September, we're, like I said, we're pretty small fund. We have about 50 million is a total fund. We started just a year ago, so we're a very new fund. We started just last year. We actually had our anniversary last week, which was Friday. Yeah, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. So very new fund. So like, I guess because we were kind of late to the party, it actually kind of benefited us, I guess, because we have a lot of fresh capital, and we're actually allocating a lot of stuff now. And yeah, we're still taking on a bunch of deals and stuff. So, but yeah, like you said, kind of similar things, like in terms of like, there's a lot better stuff coming to us, like in terms of allocation wise and just us getting like better terms, because like there's not a lot of like capital out there. Are people so readily willing to give it out? People are a lot more conservative about what they give out. But yeah, I mean, we primarily for us, like our main thing is that because we're smaller fund, we don't have, like, we've only been around for a year. We don't have the reputation. Like, we really try to be a lot more hands-on with our projects, and kind of trying to give us an edge on that end in terms of, being a smaller fund. We have more bandwidth to just focus on a lot of our projects. I think another thing that we do particularly well is also, we, not me, but the founders have, a lot of roots in Asia. Because they used to work at what was it? I can never pronounce the name. Hubi, or Hubi. Hobie, exactly. Yeah, Hobie. So yeah, they worked there for quite some time. They have a lot of connections in Asia. Whether and they've been in the market for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So they have deep ties in Asia and the US. So a lot of the times when a lot of the US companies want to do something in Asia or vice versa, Asian companies want to branch out into the US, it's kind of hard because there's not really anybody there for them. So they try to be that middleman, and we've done a pretty good job about that. Kind of getting into contact with both of those parties and making sure that the Asian market is kind of aligned with the US market as well.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think it's important to kind of also go where a lot of others won't as well. Like you see, like Sino Capital, they are literally in every single country. They're like leaving no stone unturned because you never know who's going to build that next like 1,000x, 10,000x style product. And if you're not looking, or you're not willing to take the first meeting, or you're not willing to read a deck because it looks a bit like the presentation on it's a bit shitty, all that sort of stuff can be that's easy. That can be like looked after. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's interesting that you said
and
nice approach as well.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of that. Like a lot of that, like especially the Asian market kind of come into the US market and race here. It's very difficult for them, just particularly just because like in general, like if you go from like TradFi, like no one like trusts Asian markets, there's not a good relationship there. So, but kind of just being able to fix them and introduce them and kind of have us as an outlet, like really does help out a lot. And additionally too, we're also starting a fund to fund. So, we're also putting aside capital to like fund any like managers. So like like you, bro, we can fund you. We can fund you.
That's fine by me.
Yeah. So
I told you I'm $1 million an hour. I told you that's my rate.
Yeah. Any up and coming managers, any fund managers. Yeah, we have that too. So, I'd say
it'd be good to. We've got a couple on our desk at the minute that might be worth kind of brief introductions for as well. Not to do business on air, but it could be quite interesting to have those discussions. Yeah. As I say, I am $1 million an hour, so
yeah, you might be a little bit too expensive for us, but yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I'd say like, I guess if anybody's interested out there, like like kind of what it's like to like kind of work at a VC, what it's like to kind of go from I mean at the end of the day, I'm just a degen, literally a guy that I learned that kind of everything on my own and kind of just been through the weeds, and now I'm like kind of more in an institutional place. Honestly, I'd say it's a lot of stuff is very, very similar, like a lot of stuff that I would do for fun is kind of what I do on the job, for the most part. And so yeah, it's very fun. Like it's funny. Like a lot of the due diligence is the same. A lot of the stuff that you do. I don't work on the deals teams. I'm primarily on like the marketing side, so I do stuff like this. But for the most part, like a lot of stuff is not really. I guess it's not really been too much of a big change. And yeah, it's been fun. Particularly just like being around a lot of people that are just really into the space. You get like a greater feel for it, kind of working with them day in and day out and really seeing what they're looking at and how they kind of value different things. I think that's been helpful for me too, just like on a personal level in terms of like investing, like how they perceive things, and like when I look at a token and I see the VCs, like the VCs and their cap table, I think I try to put myself in their shoes now, because before I was like, oh, VC's bad, but like now it's a different perspective. I try to see it from their shoes and say like, okay, I guess be a little bit more, I guess, like, what am I trying to say here? Like a little bit like more sensitive to open to the idea. Exactly. Because I've seen what it's like to be in a VC shoes, so yeah.
Yeah, it's important because you've seen both sides of the fence, from like retail investor, like research analyst, writer, and now going in on the other side. So it's nice to, I suppose, for you, it's for like early stage of your career, it's really important that you've seen like how the sausage is made across the full spectrum effectively.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's only going to stand you in like really good stead in like 5, 6, 7, 8 years like time. You know what I mean? You'll have had that full experience across the board, which is really useful to funds and stuff like that. And then maybe you can charge $1 million an hour as well.
yeah, maybe I can too. Yeah, that's the hope, man. That's the hope. You know, yeah.
Maybe when we sell
and then,
sell blockmates, you can we'll give you a small amount of equity, and then you can go and charge $1 million an hour.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me, dude. Yeah. No, honestly, the goal. No, never mind. No, I'm not gonna say that. Let me stop myself.
So are you fully remote then?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, fully remote. I got to meet the team, like I said, last week. And I know I talked to you about it a little bit off camera, but yeah, I got to meet the team last week. We had like a retreat. That was really fun. I went over to New York, so a bunch of us like flew out to New York, and we got to like just like hang out and like do some team bonding. It was really cool. Yeah, we run a bunch of events at the NYC place. We have a house over there. Really nice place, really nice house. We're having a holiday party as well, and a couple other influencer parties. We have one, I think, December 1st and stuff like that. Yeah, you can check it out on the website. It's pretty cool. I think.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a good time.
Is there any kind of I know you've only been there like a short while, but is there any kind of overarching products that they're particularly on the hunt for, or is it kind of just broadly in the crypto Web3 space anyway?
No, I think I mean, stuff that we have under our portfolio is pretty broad.
Yeah, I was checking it out. Yeah, it's pretty broad.
Yeah. Although like probably our biggest things have been like infrastructure plays, particularly like Scroll Tech has been a very good one because I like the second player and like the ZK stuff, and they just raised a new round of like 1.4 billion. So they're doing pretty well. Yeah, they're doing pretty well. Yeah, we got.
What's that, Series A?
Was that a Series A? Oh, yeah, I'm guessing. I'm gonna say it's Series A. I mean, we got in before that so before that validation, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well played on that.
Yeah, that was before my time here, so I'm not 100%.
All right, cool. Well, getting to the top of the hour, so but yeah, let's do this. Let's do it semi regularly because I think as I say, we're close buds anyway, and we should be doing this kind of thing. And I'm happy to jump on whenever.
Yeah, dude,
and if there's any updates with the fund, and if they want to hire me as fund manager, as I say, you know my rates.
Yeah, I'll let them know. I'll see if they're interested.
There could be some stuff off air as well we can discuss, but yeah, be interesting. Thanks for coming on, and
thank you for having me, bro. I mean, like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a while, so it's fun to be on here. So,
man, you're welcome anytime. Just shoot me a message. Usually when I'm recording, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning for you. So
exactly. I know.
I invite you to like all these things. You know, like, why are you inviting me to stuff at like 6 in the morning and 4 in the morning?
Yeah, it's like 4 in the morning. They're like, dude, I'm trying to go to sleep, man. Yeah. Like, what is this? I'm not trying to. It's like watching the World Cup. You know, it's like God. No.
Yeah, we're going out tomorrow we're going to celebrate my birthday tomorrow. Have a few drinks, and then England kick off at like 3 in the morning over here. Okay. So I'm going to be a complete zombie by then. I'll probably be asleep at the bar or wherever we watch it, and just be like drunken mess. But yeah, it's coming home anyway, so that's fine.
All right, dude.
All right, take it easy, and just as on a more personal note, you don't, so please
subscribe and like and subscribe the video right now.
Right, take it easy, everyone. Thanks for coming on.
All right, man. Thanks, man.